Picture this, you're at the end of one of the worst years of your existence where you spent the majority of your increased amount of free time binging Netflix and TikToks. Before you know it, it's December and 2021 is just a few short days away. Anticipation rises as the thoughts of a new year, new me post that will probably get higher engagement than your usual pictures looms in your head. You're still stuck in this huge rut, having accomplished little, and you're ready to make that massive change that will catapult your finances, fulfillment, and happiness. But not just yet. Because it's still 2020, you tell yourself, well, these are my New Year's resolutions. I'll just wait until January 1st. This is a terrible way to view your goals. Believe it or not, even though you saw the title, this video is going to be about how to better yourself this year. But not just this year. I want to teach you how to create lasting habits in your life. Habits that stick, habits that you can implement and that will stay there for years to come. But first we need to talk about the problem with New Year's resolutions, and the reason that they're a problem is because they're deceiving. You start off the year writing down the goals you want to achieve, loaded with motivation that this will finally be the year you do them. Then a few more weeks pass and you can feel yourself slipping back into your old ways, and by February or March, all that motivation and all that optimism fades to dust. I think this is due to a few factors. Firstly, the fact that you have to wait for a new year to write down goals and make goals and completely reinvent yourself is an outrageous concept. It does not matter when you start working towards the type of person that you want to be. What matters is that you just start. I cannot imagine how many people justified not doing much with their lives this past year because it's 2020, the year the world ended and everything went to shit. Everyone else isn't doing anything, so that means it's okay for me too. And I understand for a lot of people that you may have lost your jobs and even more during this pandemic, and I feel for you, but I'm just talking about developing yourself further, which I know you could have done and I know you can do right now. The other reason that New Year's resolutions fall off so quickly is because of the stories that we tell ourselves in our head. Everyone has stories about themselves that drive their behavior. You have an idea of who you are and what's important to you. Essentially, you have a story operating about yourself at all times, and these stories have a powerful impact on your decisions and your actions. But the great part about this is that our story can be changed by first becoming self-aware of the stories that we're telling ourselves right now, and then working towards the story that matches who we want to be through the goals and the habits that we want to pick up. This is at the core of why New Year's resolutions usually don't work, is because we focus so much on what we want to accomplish and less on the stories that we tell us about ourselves. And those are what really motivates us to stay on a habit or goal that's best for us. And so because we're not doing that, we eventually quit. So here's the first exercise that I want you to do. I want you to get out a journal and first start writing out your existing story. And you need to be honest with yourself or this is not going to work. Pay special attention to anything that goes against the habits that you want to adopt. So for example, if your goal is to learn how to unplug and de-stress, then write out a story that is realistic. And this story would show that it's hard for you to de-stress and that you tend to get overly involved in dramas at home or at work. And then once you're done with that, what I want you to do is on the next pages, rewrite your story. Write the story of the person that you are trying to be. The type of person that is disciplined, strong-willed, confident, and willing to put in massive amounts of work to get the results that they want out of life. Picture the emotions and the things and what your life would look like that matches that story in your head, and start to change your environment and what you consume and who you hang around with to match that story. The good news is that the person that you want to be is usually just a few tiny changes in your environment away. And it would probably be wise to reread this story every once in a while when you feel like you're falling off of it and you haven't developed yourself enough to the point where you are that story. And the next step is to start forming these new habits that match this new story and actually making them stick this time. And thanks to the new discoveries in behavioral science by B.J. Fogg in Tiny Habits, Charles Duhigg in The Power of Habit, and James Clear in Atomic Habits, we now know the formula to override existing habits and create new ones. The first step is very simple. It's just to start small. This is crucial. Getting more exercise or losing a ton of weight is not small. This is why New Year's resolutions do not work. For example, instead of get more exercise, choose walk 1/3 more than I usually do. And instead of starting off right away with like, I want to be extremely healthy, just have a smoothie with like kale in it every day. The second step is to attach the new action with a previous habit. Creating an entirely new habit on its own is much more difficult and not optimal. This is what all of these books say, and it is definitely true in my experience. First, figure out a habit that you've already established, that you already have, that is related to that new habit that you're trying to form. So for example, if you already go for a brisk walk 3 times a week, then adding on 10 more minutes to the existing walk connects the new habit to an existing one. The existing habit, go for a walk, now becomes the cue for the new habit, which is walk 10 more minutes. And for eating healthier, maybe what you want to do is have your kale smoothie before or after you've had a little bit of junk food, but you know, make sure not to binge on it. This is totally okay if we're trying to form that new habit. And lastly, and one of the most important tips that I learned from these books, is that you need to make the new habit easy and attractive to do, and make the bad habits that you're trying to get rid of more difficult to do. Seems pretty obvious, but we can make just the tiniest adjustments in our environment and what we do in a given day, and it can make the habits that you've been trying to get rid of for so long so much easier to get rid of, because you just won't want to do them, and vice versa for the habits that you're trying to form. Because you're trying to establish a conditioned response, you need to practice the new habit from the existing stimulus from 3 to 7 times before it's going to stick on its own. And to help you through this 3 to 7 times phase, you need to make that habit as easy and attractive as possible. Now, what do I mean by this attractiveness? Let me give you a couple examples. For the walking example, write a note and stick it on your walking shoe that says, total time today for my walk is 30 minutes. And get your tunes ready, get a whole playlist created that pumps you up and makes you feel good about that walk, and that will make the walk seem much more attractive. For making healthy eating a habit, you can put the kale in the blender and have all your smoothie ingredients ready to go in one spot in the fridge. And you can make food that's good for you very attractive, and you can make it taste good too. What I would suggest to make it more attractive is maybe like hang up some photos on your refrigerator of like smoothies or smoothie bowls that look super good. That'll make you look at them and be like, okay, this is something that I want to make right now. And after the 3 to 7 days where you've attached the new habit to the previous habit, if we want to take this even a step further, make the previous habit even more difficult to do. Now, obviously this doesn't apply to every example. It's not going to apply to the walking example, but if you're trying to quit eating those chips or that junk food associated with drinking a smoothie, the easiest way to get rid of that would be to throw them out, like all the way out, or else you might be tempted to rummage through the garbage and eat them again. So by first creating new self-stories and then implementing the tactics for creating new habits that I laid out here, you're gonna be unrecognizable this year. 2021, it's about to be the best year of our fucking lives, baby. I can guarantee you that if you implement the stuff that I just talked about. Thank you so much for watching this video, and happy 2021 to you guys. I hope you have an amazing year, and I know you will if you, listen to this video and take action. And thank you so much for watching till the end. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. The books that I mentioned in this video are going to be linked in the description if you want to actually like read all those out. It might help you even further. And that is it. I will see you guys in the very next video.